Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Trump says US close to meeting objectives in Iran war as Washington deploys additional troops to West Asia, including warships, as crisis deepens. US and Ukrainian negotiators to hold talks in Miami today amid the escalating tension as Russia attacks Kyiv's oil and gas facilities in Poltava. In badminton, India's Tanvi Sharma and Isharani Baruah qualify for Orleans Masters semis, while men's doubles pairing of Amsa Karunan and Arjun's campaign ended with a loss. India and parts of world celebrate Eid ul-Fitr, marking culmination of the month-long Ramzan fasting. The US military has deployed thousands more Marines to the West Asia as President Donald Trump accused NATO allies of cowardice over their reluctance to send forces to help open the Strait of Hormuz. 2,500 Marines, along with the USS Boxer, an amphibious assault ship, and accompanying warships, has been deployed to the region. The additional deployments will add to the 50,000 US troops already in the West Asia and would bring 2 Marine expeditionary units to the region. Trump told reporters on Thursday that he was not putting troops anywhere, but that if he were to do so, he would not tell journalists. The UK government authorized the US to use its bases in Britain to strike Iranian missile sites that are targeting ships in the strait. Britain has authorized the United States to use its bases to strike Iranian sites threatening the Strait of Hormuz shipping lane, the government said Friday. Earlier on Friday, US President Donald Trump sharply criticized NATO allies over their lack of support during the US-Israel war against Iran, calling the longtime US allies cowards. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said, "Without the US, NATO is a paper tiger." He accused member nations of refusing to join what he described as a fight to stop a nuclear-powered Iran, adding that the conflict had now been militarily won, with minimal risk to them. Meanwhile, on Friday, Israel's military said it carried out 2 large waves of airstrikes on Tehran and central Iran, targeting weapons production facilities and sites storing ballistic missile launchers and components. According to the Israeli military, Israel faced multiple waves of missile attacks from Iran, triggering air raid sirens in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, while explosions from interceptions were heard. Fragments from an Iranian missile struck Jerusalem on Friday, landing just outside the old city. Jews and Muslims releasing a photograph of the debris. There were no reports of injuries or casualties. Iran's Revolutionary Guards said they had attacked Haifa and Tel Aviv with multi-warhead missiles and used drones to attack weapons stocks at US bases, including Sheikh Issa Air Base in Bahrain. Kuwait's state oil firm said its Mina Al Ahmadi refinery had suffered multiple drone attacks that set some units alight, the latest energy facility hit by Iran in recent days. New Iranian Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei, who has not been seen in public since the Israeli attack, issued a message of defiance. Khamenei said the enemies of the Islamic Republic were being defeated in the war against the US and Israel in a written message for the Persian New Year, Nowruz. A US intelligence official said the statement raises questions about Khamenei's condition, as his father traditionally marked the New Year with a video address. The official said Khamenei's extended absence raises questions about his condition and who is running the country. The semi-official Iranian news agency Tasnim said Intelligence Minister Ismail Ahmadi was killed, the latest of dozens of leading figures assassinated by Israel. On to Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Ukrainian and US negotiators will meet in the United States on Saturday in a bid to revive stalled talks on the ongoing conflict with Russia. Ukrainian President Zelensky in his address said that it was important that there are signals from the American side regarding their readiness to continue working with the existing negotiation formats to end the conflict.
Важливо також, що є сигнали від
It is also important that we got signals from the American side as to them being ready to continue the negotiations to end the Russian war on Ukraine along already available tracks. There has been a pause in the talks. It is time to end that, and we will do everything so that the talks can be truly meaningful. The Ukrainian team, especially the political side of it, is already on the way, and we expect a meeting on Saturday in the United States.
Єрвом і з Кирилом Будановим.
Last week, Russian President Vladimir Putin's envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, held talks with US negotiators in Florida, including President Donald Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and son-in-law, Jared Kushner. The discussions in Florida came after the United States lifted some sanctions on Russian oil. The H-1B visa program, a key route for skilled Indian professionals to work in the US, is under scrutiny as lawmakers debate reforms amid labor shortages and an aging population. At the same time, they are working to protect the OPT program, which lets international students work after graduation. Since Indians make up a large share of H-1B recipients, any policy change is closely watched in India. Here's a report on the current discussions surrounding the H-1B visa program.
The H-1B visa program remains a primary pathway for skilled foreign workers, particularly in technology and engineering, to work in the United States. The program has long been debated in Washington, with policymakers balancing the need to attract global talent against concerns over wages, worker protections, and the structure of visa allocation. At a recent congressional hearing, policymakers questioned whether the current lottery-based H-1B visa system is still effective. Proposals include shifting to a wage-based selection model and allowing greater job mobility for workers. So what is H-1B visa? The H-1B visa is a non-immigrant work visa issued by the United States government that allows US companies to hire foreign professionals in specialized fields such as IT engineering, finance, healthcare, and research. It is designed for jobs that require specialized knowledge and at least a bachelor's degree or equivalent qualification. The visa is employer sponsored, means that individuals cannot apply on their own and must have a job offer from a US employer. It is typically granted for up to 3 years and can be extended to a maximum of 6 years. However, the number of visas issued each year is capped and selection is often done through a lottery system. Any shift to wage-based system could favor highly paid skilled workers, potentially benefiting experienced Indian professionals while making it harder for entry-level applicants. Greater work mobility could also improve job flexibility and wages for Indians already working in the US. In a parallel move, US lawmakers are working to protect the optional practical training or the OPT program. The legislation seeks to amend the Immigration and Nationality Act to formally allow international students to undertake practical training and employment authorization tied to their field of study, including after completing degree requirements. Lawmakers said codifying it would prevent abrupt policy shifts and ensure continuity. The move comes after Trump administration signaled in November that it could eliminate the OPT program, raising concerns that US trained talent could shift to competing economies. For India, the issue is particularly significant. Indian students are among the largest cohorts of international students in the United States, and many rely on OPT as a bridge between education and employment. The debate highlights a broader shift in US immigration policy, balancing two priorities: attracting global talent to boost economic growth while addressing concerns around wages, job competition, and system fairness. Lawmakers increasingly view skilled immigration as essential to sustaining innovation, productivity, and long term growth. For India, where thousands rely on these pathways each year, any change in US visa policy will be closely watched, as it could reshape opportunities for both professionals and students. Aarti Rana's report for DD India.
Cuba on Friday dismissed any notion that its political system or the tenure of its president could be part of negotiations with the United States, after reports emerged that Washington had pushed for the removal of President Miguel Diaz-Canel from office. Deputy Foreign Minister said Cuba's political system and leadership are not open to negotiation with the United States. President Miguel Diaz-Canel stated Cuba is preparing for potential US aggression and signaled a more defiant stance. A week ago, Cuba said that it had entered talks with the US government as an oil blockade imposed by Donald Trump pushes the country into economic crisis. While a vessel carrying humanitarian aid departed from the port of Progreso in Yucatan on Friday, heading to Cuba as part of a growing international effort amid energy crisis. The Mexican Navy deployed a 170-meter warship called the Papaloapan to escort the mission. The mission includes 3 ships carrying 30 tons of supplies and 40 people with additional aids. Authorities in the U.S. state of Hawaii ordered the immediate evacuation of around 4,000 residents after severe rainfall placed a century-old dam on the island of Oahu at the risk of collapse. The Wahiawa Dam, located in the northern Oahu, is at imminent risk of failure. The warning raised fears of potentially life-threatening flooding in downstream communities. Governor said torrential rains had triggered serious flooding across the region, pushing reservoir water levels to dangerous heights. Large parts of Hawaii remain under flood watches and warnings, with the National Weather Service reporting especially hazardous conditions in the northern Oahu. The Pacific archipelago continues to battle extreme weather as emergency crews monitor the dam and assess the risk of a catastrophic breach. Tropical cyclone Narelle was forecast to hit Australia's Northern Territory on Saturday after a day earlier, bringing destructive winds, heavy rain and power outages to the country's northeast coast. Narelle, a Category 2 system moving west in the Gulf of Carpentaria, would likely reach the remote east of the territory late. On Friday, Narelle made landfall as a Category 4 system, a rung short of the strongest in neighbouring Queensland state. Weather officials later downgraded the storm as it moved inland. And Storm Therese batters Canary Islands, leading to cancellation of outdoor events, road closures and disruption to air travel. Storm Therese hit Spain's Canary Islands, bringing strong winds, heavy rainfall and large waves. Floodwaters were seen rushing towards the sea as tourists watched massive waves crash along the coast. The storm also caused snowfall on higher ground around Mount Teide in Tenerife, with warnings of flooding and dangerous sea conditions. Weather is expected to ease by Sunday, though showers may continue over the weekend. And we are heading for a short break. You stay tuned to DD India.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. Amid West Asia crisis, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a fruitful discussion with King of Bahrain, Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. Posting on X, Prime Minister said, and I quote, "Had a fruitful discussion with the King of Bahrain, His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. conveyed warm greetings on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr to him and the people of Bahrain. We discussed the current situation in the West Asian region, condemned attacks on the energy and civilian infrastructure in the region, underscoring their adverse impact on global food, fuel and fertilizer security, reiterated the importance of ensuring freedom of navigation and keeping shipping lines open and secure, thanked His Majesty for his continued support for the well-being of the Indian community in Bahrain, unquote. India has said that freedom of navigation remains a core national interest amid the ongoing tensions in West Asia. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in touch with global leaders to ensure that maritime routes remain open and secure. Here's a report.
Replying to a question during the daily interministerial briefing on the West Asia situation, spokesperson of the External Affairs Ministry, Randeep Jaiswal, said that for a country like India, freedom of navigation is of utmost importance. He added that to achieve this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is personally engaging with world leaders.
Prime Minister has spoken to 5 world leaders yesterday. He spoke to leaders of Oman, Malaysia, France, Jordan and Qatar. In these conversations, Prime Minister put forth India's position on the ongoing conflict in West Asia. He highlighted the need to prioritize dialogue and diplomacy for de-escalation and the subsequent restoration of peace and stability. Prime Minister strongly condemned attacks on energy infrastructure. Prime Minister and the various leaders reiterated their support for safe and free navigation through the Strait of Hormuz.
Randeep Jaiswal further informed that more Indian nationals from Iran have crossed into neighboring Armenia and Azerbaijan to facilitate their return. Many of them have already reached India safely.
913 भारतीय नागरिक आर्मीनिया, ईरान से आर्मीनिया और अजरबैजान में एम्बेसी की मदद से वो सीमा पार कर चुके हैं और कई लोग इसमें से वापस आ भी चुके हैं। पहले जैसे कि मैंने बताया था कि 284 तीर्थयात्री वहाँ पर फंसे हुए थे, वो सभी 284 तीर्थयात्री अब भारत वापस आ गए हैं।
The government is holding daily interministerial briefings to provide accurate updates on the availability of LPG and other essential supplies amid the crisis. Joint Secretary in the Petroleum Ministry, Sujata Sharma, who was also part of the interministerial briefing, said that while there are concerns, LPG supply to consumers continues uninterrupted. She also noted that petrol and diesel refineries are functioning at full capacity. She also underlined that only prices of premium category of petrol have been increased, but other prices are as earlier.
डोमेस्टिक सप्लाई में कोई कटौती नहीं है। नॉर्मल पेट्रोल में कोई प्राइस इंक्रीज नहीं हुआ है, सिर्फ एक प्रीमियम कैटेगरी जो है उसमें कुछ इंक्रीज है, एंड दैट इज हार्डली 2, 3 or 4% of the entire petrol which is sold every day.
On the safety of Indians abroad, Additional Secretary Asim R. Mahajan said that the government is in constant contact with the Indian diaspora and local authorities. He added that coordination efforts are robust and nearly 3 lakh Indians stranded in the Gulf region have returned.
We continue to proactively assist seafarers, students, stranded Indian nationals and short-term visitors for visas, consular services and logistical support where required. Since February 28th, around 300,000 passengers have returned from the region to India.
Meanwhile, ensuring the safety of Indian seafarers, Special Secretary in the Shipping Ministry, Rajesh Kumar Sinha, said that all ships in the Strait of Hormuz are secure and 25 Indian sailors have been repatriated. While diplomacy is at work, it is expected that more ships will be coming through the Strait of Hormuz in coming days. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India.
Saturday marks the 3rd day of Chaitra Navratri. The 3rd day of Navratri is devoted to Ma Chandraghanta, who is revered for bringing peace, prosperity and courage and symbolizes the elimination of negativity. She embodies both bravery and calmness and is commonly linked with the color royal blue. India is celebrating Eid al-Fitr, marking the conclusion of the holy month of Ramadan. Eid al-Fitr is being observed with special prayers, charity and social gatherings. Markets in major cities have seen a surge in activity with people buying clothes, sweets and gifts. After a month of fasting from sunrise to sunset, Eid al-Fitr brings people together for prayers, feasts and festivities. The festival is a celebration of gratitude and togetherness. And time now for some sports news. In badminton, India's good run in women's singles at the 2026 Orleans Masters Super 300 continued as Tanvi Sharma and Isharani Baruah won their respective quarter-final matches on Friday. Tanvi, the 17-year-old, beat 6th seed Natsuki Nidaira of Japan 21-14, 21-14. She will next face former world champion Nozomi Okuhara of Japan in the semi-final on Saturday. Later in the day, Isharani advanced to the semi-finals after fellow Indian Malvika Bansod retired midway from their All-India quarter-final clash. Elsewhere, the Indian men's doubles duo of Hariharan and MR Arjun bowed out of contention, losing 12-21, 20-22 in straight games to the third-seeded pair of Leo Rolly Karnando and Bagus Maulana from Indonesia. New Zealand won the third T20 international against South Africa by 8 wickets at Eden Park in Auckland on Friday. With this win, Black Caps take a 2-1 lead in 5-match series. After choosing to bowl first, New Zealand captain Mitchell Santner led a strong effort to restrict South Africa to 136 for 9 in 20 overs. And Mokoena was the top scorer for visitors with an unbeaten 26 from 20 deliveries, hitting 3 sixes and 1 4. George Linde, also Forrester and Gerald Coetzee also contributed some runs, but the top order failed badly and could not build a solid total. For New Zealand, Kylie Jamieson, Mitchell Santner and Ben Soares took 2 wickets each. Lockie Ferguson was named player of the match for his excellent bowling, giving away only 9 runs in 4 overs and taking 1 wicket. 7-time world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan made professional snooker history on Friday by crafting the highest break ever of 153 at the World Open in China. The 50-year-old Englishman pulled off the feat against Ryan Day of Wales on his way to sealing his place in the semi-finals in Yushan with a dominant 5-0 victory. O'Sullivan, regarded as the best player snooker has ever produced, was aided by a free ball and started his break with the green, followed by an opening black. He then reeled off the 15 reds, complemented by 13 further blacks and 2 pinks, before clearing up the colours to nail the eye-popping record. The previous highest break was 148 by Jamie Burnett in 2004. Today, on March 21, we join hands to celebrate International Day of Forests, a day established by the United Nations to recognize and protect one of our planet's most vital resources. Forests are not only home to over 60,000 tree species, but they also support 80% of the world's terrestrial biodiversity. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya with more inputs.
Forests cover nearly 1/3 of Earth's land, yet they hold 80% of all terrestrial biodiversity and support the livelihoods of over 1.6 billion people worldwide. Recognizing their critical role, the United Nations General Assembly proclaimed March 21st as the International Day of Forests in 2012, a day to celebrate and raise awareness about the importance of all types of forests. The 2026 theme, Forests and Economies, highlights how forests are not just ecological assets, but powerful drivers of economic growth and sustainability. India has achieved significant milestone in global forest statistics by advancing to the 9th position worldwide in terms of total forest area, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO's Global Forest Resources Assessment. The country also stands 3rd in annual net forest gain, Forests in India remove nearly 150 million tons of carbon dioxide every year, making the country the fifth largest global carbon sink. As India moves towards a sustainable bioeconomy, forest-based solutions are emerging as alternatives to carbon-intensive materials, boosting green jobs and rural economies. From conservation to economic empowerment, India's forests are not just natural assets, they are engines of a greener, more resilient future. Taposh Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Prasar Bharati from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.